it's Lisa here, your pale looking Pilates instructor. So this week's focus is all about the core. One of the very principles of Pilates is working your core, and what your core is the muscles from the inside out, so the ones that are closest to the bones. So specifically in Pilates, when we talk about the core muscles, we're talking about the pelvic floor muscles under here, and the transverse abdominis muscles that wrap around your spine, and also some muscles at the back as well. So when we do a beginner's class in Pilates, I will always teach you where these core muscles are, how to engage them, and we'll practice it quite a lot. So I'm going to go through a little bit with you now, and then I'm going to talk through what your weekly challenge is this week, and it's all about your pelvic floor muscles. So first things first, what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, we're going to push the ribs out to the side, and then I want you to suck up through your pelvic floor like you're holding in a wee as tightly as you can, and at the same time you're going to pull in through your lower tummy muscles. So take a deep breath in and hold those muscles while still breathing, and then let them go. So that's as tight as you possibly can hold them. And now what I want you to do is do about a half of that contraction, so about 50%. So take a deep breath in, rib cage goes out, pelvic floor muscles up just halfway, and lower tummy muscles drawn in just halfway as well. And you should be able to breathe and smile. You shouldn't have to go. It's an attractive face, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to try a 30% contraction, so a third of the way. It doesn't matter if it's a third or a quarter, or it doesn't have to be specific. But basically, a little bit of a contraction up through your pelvic floor muscles and in through your lower tummy muscles. As you breathe in, hold them there. So with that 30% contraction, you should aim to hold those muscles at that contraction for the rest of your life. So just that little bit of a lift. What will happen is that your body will slowly get used to it, and before you know it, you'll have to think about letting those pelvic floor muscles go. Why is this a good idea? Because then you won't wet yourself when you're running for a bus. I've had a 10.5 pound baby, 10.5 pounds, wedged halfway in and halfway out of my vagina. She got yanked out of there. I've never once, actually, when I did have her about 6 weeks later, I was squatting down to do something and I sneezed and I might have wet myself a bit, but apart from that, it's all good down there. And you know why? Because always, for many years, I've held that contraction at 30%. So even if now your pelvic floor muscles are not on top point and you do wet yourself when you're trampolining, you can train them to get stronger by continually practicing your pelvic floor tightening exercises. Don't think for a second that you can do it for a couple of days and then you'll be cured. That's not a vibe. You have to do it consistently. Your choice, either do it or wet yourself for the rest of your life. I don't care. It's your choice. So, as well as being able to hold that 30% contraction, just keep reminding yourself, set a reminder if you want, whatever. I'm now going to tell you what your weekly challenge is, okay? So what your weekly challenge is to train your brain and your pelvic floor muscles to contract each time you boil the kettle. But what if I don't have hot drinks? I don't know the answer to that question. When you get up in the morning, you make yourself a cup of tea, you whack the kettle on, you're going to suck it up for 10 seconds. If you can't get to 10 immediately, that's fine, for as long as you can, and then you're going to slowly release it. You're going to do that for as many times as you can whilst that kettle is boiling. Every single time you boil the kettle, put a post-it note next to the kettle that says fanny or whatever, pelvic floor muscles, so that every time you boil that kettle, you know you've got to practice sucking those muscles in for 10 seconds and then relaxing them. And what will happen is every time you boil the kettle, automatically you'll think, oh, must suck it in. And therefore, for the rest of your life, you will be constantly training your pelvic floor muscles to be stronger, and that is a good thing. The other thing you can do, if you don't drink tea, use your indicator. Whenever you go out driving and you put your indicator on, let that be your brain way of saying, oh, don't forget to do your pelvic floor muscles. Suck it in for 10 seconds, let it go. You can also do it quickly, slowly, whatever you like. Just be doing them. Just be sucking it up. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm sucking them up. Every time someone mentions it, you'll be sucking them up. So if you don't drink tea and you don't use your indicator, then I'll let you come up with your own habit stacking formation. But you want to aim to use your pelvic floor muscles at least 3 or 4 times a day. Okay? You can do it or you can't do it, but if you want 10.5 baby yanked out of your vagina and you're still not wetting yourself, you have to do the work. I don't want anyone to have a 10.5 pound baby yanked out of them. But what I'm saying, it's all good down there because of doing exercises. So you can make excuses or you can make it tighter. The choice is yours. I'm sorry.